Good morning, world. I am Judy, your web-based therapist, making therapy accessible and convenient for our clients in Florida and New York, and of course, sharing information worldwide. Today, we're talking about 5 ways to start a conversation with children. I don't really work with children as much anymore, but generally, anyone who's asked a child how school was know the 2 primary answers. The school was either fine or it was boring, and the older they get, the finer and the more boring school gets. Because those are the 2 answers that you usually get. But with children, of course, what questions are a lot better because they leave the door open for them to say so much more. So today we're going to go over 5 questions you can ask. First is, what was the most interesting thing that happened? You can change the wording. Sometimes I'll say things like the coolest, the funniest, the whatever, just something to ask the child, hey, what was a good thing that happened at school today? So when you ask them that, it gives them a guide for, hey, where are we going? That way, because you just need to start the conversation. Once you start the conversation, it flows. But what was the most interesting thing that happened? This can't be fine. This can't be boring. It just, they usually have to search, and they do come up with something. Another good question is, what's one new or unusual thing that happened? And you use that one mostly a lot of times if you know that something happened at school, but they haven't shared it with you, or if you think that something's going on, but they have not shared it with you, you can ask if there was anything new or anything unusual that happened at school. This gives them the opportunity to start to share with you, hey, this happened at school, and then you can start the conversation there by asking follow-up questions. Another question is, what did you do at school? Again, nothing is a very possible question. But when you ask that question, again, it's they did something. They did something. So when you ask, what did you do? They usually look through the day and find something else. Another good question is, what did you learn or talk about? There's usually, if you go to school, you learn something. Otherwise, you did it wrong. And that's another way to start the ball rolling. This may not give you the detailed answers on all the ins and outs of school, but once you start talking about, hey, okay, what did you learn? And then you ask for the next question, maybe what did you think of it? This, that, and the other. And then you move forward from there. Based on the answer, you ask the follow-up questions. And of course, the last one is, what did you think or what did you feel about whatever it is? If there was something specific that happened, or if that's just your follow-up question to one of the earlier questions that you asked them, it gives them an opportunity to expand on what it is that they said. It gives them an opportunity to share a little bit more information. And because the idea is to get children talking and get them used to having those conversations, regular conversations, so that when something bigger, when something more important, when something more pressing happens, because you already have that pattern of following up and checking in and having these conversations, then it becomes normal. Quick recap. 1, you can ask, what was the most interesting thing that happened? Or what was the coolest, the funniest, the whatever? Pick a word and ask that. 2, what's one new thing or one unusual thing that happened today? And then they will have to search and tell you that. What did you do at school? What did you do at camp? What did you do wherever it is that they went? Then they will talk about activities that they did, and then gives you opportunities to follow up. What did you talk about, or what did you learn? When they go to school, they learn something. And that is another good way of getting the ball rolling. And finally, you can ask, what did you think or how did you feel about whatever it is, whether it's the follow-up to a question that you asked or a new question because you know that something happened and you want to talk to them about it. And as always, if you or someone you know happens to be going through something that's more than you can handle, please do reach out and get help, because there's so much of it out there. There are a lot of people able and willing to help you. And that is all we have for today. Good morning, world. Have an awesome day.